Hi everybody, KF4QKR again, and here's what everybody's been wanting to see. This is the Whiteface Johnson that is converted for 75 meters. And as you can see right here, see there's no more 11 meter output circuit. I took all that out. The crystal thingy, here you go, that's it right there. See, it's not in here obviously. So oscillator tubes out. Two of the receive tubes are out. I could have taken this other, I think it's a 6BA6. I could have took it out too, but this is the 6-volt model, you know, Mobile 6-volt. And so if I take this tube out right here, I lose one of these tubes that I need real bad for the thing to operate, for it to transmit. So that tube's in there only for transmit only. Okay, to do this conversion, you really need one of these. Now this is that's a Sam's Photofac volume 1. So anyway, here's the schematic to this thing, and I don't know if this is going to show up, but here's what you do basically. You disconnect the transmit oscillator, and on the final amp tube right here, on pins 3, 6 is not used, so it's pins 3 and 6. Leave the 10K resistor and leave the 10 puff capacitor right there. Cut all the other parts off of this. This right here, it won't work with this on here. Cut this off. In other words, only 2 parts on pin 3. It's going to be 10K to ground, your grid leak resistor, and then your through capacitor, which is 10 microfarads. Okay, this right here is where I hooked the VFO to it. Okay, the rest of the modification is pretty easy. Okay, it's a simple, my output is just a simple link coupled output. Very simple. You got a coil on the outside, coil on the inside. Got 2 capacitors. Usually you use a bigger capacitor for right here, but as you can see, I use little 302 ceramic capacitors. That's 150 puff on the load to make it load right. So what you do over here on the schematic, this is real easy. You take this 12 ohm resistor out, you cut it out of the circuit. Okay, you hook that to the bottom of the coil, and I've got something else for reference here. This is a February 1962 QST, and this is where I got the information for the coil out. Okay, right here where you unhook this 12 ohm resistor, you hook the bottom of this coil right there, the bottom of your coil, you see, and you can meter this or whatever. Then you have your capacitor going across, and the top of your coil will be hooked to the plate, pin 9 of the 7061 too. That's it. Real simple. Now in mine right here, I've got my coil upside down. That's actually in the schematic. That's the top of the coil, and that's the bottom of the coil. And then you got another coil that's inside the coil. Okay, the first coil, the big coil, is 31 turns, number 20 enamel wire, and 1 inch in diameter, 1 3/8 inches long. Okay, the second coil, which is inside the first coil, this other coil right here, and as you know, she can make this out of pill bottles. I made it out of 2 old wire spools. One will fit right down inside the other one. So your second coil is 9 turns of number 20 enamel wire, 3/4 inch in diameter, 3/8 inch long, mounted inside your first coil. And the way I've got this one set up is where you can actually adjust your link couple. You can push it in further, or you can pull it out, and that actually helps you get the wattage up on it. So I'm going to turn it over and let's see what I did to the bottom. Now, as you can see, I added a relay to it. All this relay does is cut this unit in or out of the circuit, because I use the same VFO for this Johnson transmitter as I use for my homebrew transmitter over there. So when the relay's kicked off, the VFO goes straight through, and to my homebrew. When it's kicked in, I have to put my homebrew on standby, and then of course the RF from the VFO is coming up in here. Okay, now I have a high-powered VFO. Henceforth, the reason for all these resistors here. All this is a dummy load resistor setup, and it's right before the RF goes into the 10 puff resistor in your transmitting tube. And that's just to send a whole lot of the power to ground, because I have a pretty high output of VFO. And so if you've got a low output VFO, you wouldn't even have to put them in there. In fact, you could leave this relay out, feed that direct, and then have the output, you know, running out your SO239. So that's about it. Like I said, I took the other tubes out, so a little bit less draw on the transformer, you know, when you're just sitting there idling. I took the speaker out, mounted the mod iron, if you can call it that, right directly to the chassis, so you can actually look in the front and see all the nice little goodies. Lights still work. This light keys off the cathode of the transmit tube. Goes red when you key up. And let's see. Okay, this right here, I stole that out of another Johnson. All I use that for is a switch. That cuts the relay out. It goes straight through. That cuts the relay in. In other words, the transmitter is working. This right here is a microphone input potentiometer. It's a 2 megohm potentiometer, and all that does is adjust the microphonium input. Okay, now one side effect of doing this modification, and I didn't mean for it to happen, but it's that way, and I'm not going to change it because it's really cool. Your squelch control becomes an automatic limiter. In other words, it's attached to the modulator tube, which is also a 12AB5 761. But anyway, before your audio, as your audio goes into the output tube, this right here, the squelch will actually limit your audio or make it louder. Because when I first cranked it up, I noticed that one time I'd use it, the audio would be real loud, next time it'd be weak, and finally I found out, well, hey, this is making a difference here. So anyway, that's it. I hope more of you guys convert these things over to 75 meters, but just remember one thing, QKR did it first. 73s, y'all. Got any questions? I'm on 3885 just about every evening. 73s.